Before we get started talking about the CJ McCollum being disgusted with super teams and Kyle Kuzma saying that people are underestimating the Lakers, a person I got to shout out and a team really I got to shout out is the Duke team. I watched their preseason game. Those guys, RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson, look so impressive. Those guys are hopefully going to be battling out for the top 2 picks next year. If the Atlanta Hawks are in that, discussion of where they're at, I don't know if it's the Atlanta Hawks, maybe another team. I don't know what other team, Orlando Magic maybe. But whatever team it is, they better be on the lookout for those 2 guys, especially Zion Williamson. If he can get a consistent jumper, he's going to be a very scary player. He kind of reminds me of Charles Barkley a little bit, a guy that's a little bit undersized but is able to rise up and attack the hoop. Really love his game, and I hope, like I said, his jump shot improves. He could really end up being a very top 2, maybe even the number 1 overall pick. But right now, like I said, let's discuss the CJ McCollum, Kyle Kuzma stories.
LeBron James all the way in.
And here comes Simmons the other way, 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that. Certainly the length altered that shot. Not a big window. Steps.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here, bringing you yet another video here in the Charge, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And before we get started on to today's story, go and check out our fixer-uppers that we have out on the channel. We have multiple of them. Ones, of course, including the Utah Jazz, the Boston Celtics, and also the New York Knicks and Chicago Bulls. Can the Bulls make a 2019 playoff push? Go and check that video out, as it is an interesting watch. But right now, like I said, we got to talk about the CJ McCollum story first, and that he finds super teams disgusting. And this is, of course, coming from Mike Sherry from the Bleacher Report. This is, of course, stemming from CJ McCollum and Kevin Durant when they were on the podcast together on CJ McCollum's podcast, talking about Kevin Durant and his team. And then this ended up going on Twitter with CJ McCollum calling out Kevin Durant. Durant calls out CJ McCollum, and then it just escalates into this. This is what CJ McCollum had to say about going against the Golden State Warriors. I would never do a thing of that nature. I think that's disgusting, said McCollum, and that's, of course, talking about being on a super team. McCollum was also asked if super teams are the future of the NBA, which, to me, if you're thinking that the super team is the future of the NBA, then you haven't been watching basketball since you were born. Ever since basketball has been invented, especially going into the NBA and ABA when they did the merger and all this other stuff, super teams have been around for a very long time. So it's not surprising to me, or it's surprising to me, I should say, why people think that super teams are the future and, LeBron James created it, the Boston Celtics created it. No, it's been there for a very long time, and people are just now kind of getting sick and tired about it. I mean, we all remember the Boston Celtics Lakers days. No one got sick about it. Boston Celtics back in the day, I know there were less teams, especially in the Bill Russell era, but still, they had a super team. So to me, saying that super teams are the future is just dumbfounding, and I think it's stupid that anyone would say that super teams are the future. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just think that's very flabbergasting to hear that people think that that's the future. But I'll go on to read what it says. But he also expressed his belief that most players will go in a different direction. I think that some players will take that route, but most guys have too much pride. They want to really win on their own or certain organizations, and they aren't just going to jump the bandwagon. McCollum has never made an all-star game or an all-NBA team in his career and won't be a free agent until 2021. I think that's a little bit of a dig at him. I don't know if that's from the Bleacher Report article or if this is from the Real GM, which I take my news sources from, who take it from other sources. But just going on the CJ McCollum thing, I understand where he's coming from, but to be honest, this is the move that's always been around, like I talked about, since the NBA. I mean, I'm just going to go recent to what I remember. And that's, of course, you remember the Shaq and Kobe's. You remember the Celtics in 08. The Lakers even had one a little bit with Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant, and Metta World Peace, or Ron Artest at the time. Then, of course, the Miami Heat, and then the Golden State Warriors. But one team, I mean, super teams have always been the teams that have won the championships. The only outlier to me that I've watched, personally, is the Detroit Pistons. That was the only team that I felt like no superstars were on that team. A collection of superstars on that team won a championship. So saying that you're sick of super teams, I'm sure if CJ McCollum had a chance to play with DeMarcus Cousins or any other superstar going into the 2019 season, if the Trailblazers have cap space, he would take those guys in a heartbeat and create a super team in Portland. There's a reason why the thing with the Portland Trailblazers is they always get into these top 4 finishes, but they just can't ever win the first round. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of weird mindset where they have the pieces, but they just can't go far into the playoffs. And I don't know whether or not you need to trade CJ McCollum, trade Damian Lillard, or, you know, restart this whole team. But something has to be done. I don't really like their coach as much. I think they need to get a new one. But like I said, something needs to happen with this Blazers team if they really want to make a playoff push. But just going on what he's talked about, like I said, there are so many teams that are super teams in the past that have won championships that saying that they are the future is just dumb. So all I have to say to that, CJ McCollum, hopefully you can make your own super team in Portland, because I know that Paul Allen will now have more funds because the Seahawks aren't doing very well. So hopefully the funds from where the Seahawks were going to go is going to go to you guys now, which hopefully you guys are going to be able to create a better team and hopefully upgrade some positions that you need, especially the small forward position, which is a very big must. Now let's move on to the next story that we got to talk about. That's, of course, Kyle Kuzma saying that many are underestimating the Lakers. This is what Kuzma goes on to say to the ESPN reporter, and this is, of course, coming from ESPN. We are both definitely excited about the roster and the pieces that we have, Kuzma told ESPN on Thursday after visiting 20 kids from the Safe Place program in his hometown of Flint, Michigan. Kudos to Kyle Kuzma for doing this for his community. I really appreciate when NBA players are really giving back to the place where they came from, and I really appreciate that about them. But this is what he goes on to say as well. And we think that a lot of people are underestimating us. It is definitely going to be fun playing with all these new guys. He also goes on to say, but the change can be a good thing. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. There are a lot of teams in the NBA that need to work on their chemistry. We are just one of them. And to me, I think a lot of old NBA heads and people that are in this industry, they really are, I think they are underestimating the Lakers, because a lot of them are putting them at like the 4th or the 5th seed. But to be honest, I think one team is going to take a major step back, and I think the Lakers are going to take that spot and be in the top 3. The reason why I think that is because LeBron James, throughout his whole career, has always had 50 to 52 wins every time that he's played in the NBA. So I think to people saying that LeBron James won't even get 50 wins in the West is absolutely asinine. I think he will get 50 wins, and I think this team is a lot better than the team he had last year, and also the 07 team where they won so many games and got to the NBA Finals. I think that if the Lakers really want to do something, I think they'll probably have to have LeBron James be kind of taking a back seat and have the young guys kind of step up. I think that the Lakers are going to make sure that LeBron James doesn't have too much of the load on him, and he's going to make sure to delegate to other people. Because I think if you want to save LeBron James for the regular season, or the postseason, I should say, that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that LeBron James is well rested and make sure that he's well hungry for the playoffs, because I know that he really wants to take on the Golden State Warriors and all these other teams in the West, because a lot of people say, you know what, LeBron, it's so easy in the East that you're just going to, cakewalk, and that's why you lose to the West. There's no real competition. But now that he's moved out to the West, I think that he's going to do a very good job of handling the pressure and the situation with this LA Lakers team. I think this team can make at least a second round push, maybe even Western Conference Finals, but they'll probably lose until next year where they have to get another superstar. I don't know who it's going to be. But like I said, you get Brandon Ingram to get that 22 points per game, which I talked about in my Lakers Fixer Upper, which I think is not that hard. It's only adding 6 more points to his game. I think that's what's really going to help Brandon Ingram and the Lakers grow into what I think they can become a super team, especially if you have LeBron James, Brandon Ingram, and another superstar. Those 3 can be the top guys. And then you have Kuzma, that may or may not come off the bench as the 6th man. That would actually be a very interesting thing for him to do. And you also have Lonzo Ball. Whether he progresses or not, that's where you're going to have to find out and see. Does Lonzo Ball have the dog enough to really become the guy that I know he can become as Jason Kidd-like? I mean, if he doesn't become that, then he's going to be off to somewhere, Phoenix, Milwaukee, whatever team it is, a small market team. Maybe, hell, it might be a team that's not even in the playoffs right now. I mean, that's the thing he has to worry about, and hopefully that this season will kind of prove to us that maybe he's better than what we thought he was, and hopefully he'll get to that Jason Kidd level, which I know that he can. But these are just my opinions on these stories. Of course, we talked about the CJ McCollum finds super teams disgusting, and we also have teams talking about Kyle Kuzma saying that many people are underestimating the Lakers. But I want to know your guys' opinion on these stories. Are people underestimating the Lakers? Do you find super teams disgusting? And have super teams always existed, or have they just become a recent trend? I want to know your comments down below. But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to make sure that you get content like our Fixer Uppers and like these videos where I talk about news and rumors around the league. But anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.